Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Cheryl Burke thinks there is romance with Jenn and Sasha. It appears that Cheryl Burke sees the same spark between Jenn Tran and Sasha Farber that fans do. She has revealed what she thinks is going on between the two of them. Sasha and Jenn are both recently single, so there is no reason the rumors couldn't be true. Keep reading to find out more about this. Jenn Tran in her comeback era. Jenn Tran is officially in her comeback era. She was the most recent Bachelorette. Fans enjoyed her season and thought she was going to find love at the end of it all. However, that was not the case. Devin Strader won her season, but broke her heart after filming stopped. This was extremely hard on Jenn. However, she decided to do Dancing with the Stars and seems to be getting her sparkle back. Fans think this opportunity came at the perfect time to help her heal and move on. She has become close with her partner Sasha Farber as well. Jenn seems to be enjoying her time on the competition show. Cheryl Burke reveals what she thinks will happen. Cheryl Burke weighed in on what she thinks is going on between Sasha Farber and Jenn Tran. The two have already sparked romance rumors after their flirty videos they post with each other. Sasha even called her babe in one of them. They share food and have all the flirty vibes. What does Cheryl think? Fans never would have guessed it either. This is something that came out of nowhere, especially since fans thought there was more going on between Jonathan Johnson and Jenn Tran. Regardless, fans just want her to be happy. This is something people would love to see and cannot wait to see their friendship grow as the season goes on. It seems as though Cheryl thinks the two are definitely going to be intimate. Fans would not be shocked if this happened. However, viewers are uncertain if the relationship will go any further than that. Jenn has clarified that she is not ready for another relationship yet. She just endured one of the biggest heartbreaks. What do you think will happen? Do you think Cheryl is right? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts. Cheryl Burke had always been a force to reckon with on and off the dance floor, her tenacity and precision making her one of the most recognized names in the world of ballroom dancing. But beyond the sequins and samba rolls, Cheryl's sharp instincts and empathetic heart often drew her into matters far more complex than choreography. So when whispers of an unusual bond began circulating between two fellow Dancing with the Stars alumni, Jenn and Sasha, Cheryl's interest was piqued. Her gut told her there was something more than just friendship there, and she couldn't shake the feeling that romance was brewing between the two. The unlikely pairing. Jenn and Sasha, though well known in their own right, were not the kind of pairing anyone would immediately suspect as potential lovers. Jenn was cool and composed, a former Olympic gymnast who had transitioned into a successful career as a television personality. She was meticulous, disciplined, and very private about her personal life. Sasha, on the other hand, was the opposite, boisterous, playful, and always quick with a joke. He had made a name for himself as one of the most dynamic male dancers on the show, his charisma lighting up every room he entered. Their personalities seemed too divergent, their paths so different that no one really thought to put them together. But Cheryl had seen stranger things happen, and there was something in the way Jenn and Sasha interacted that made her think they might be more than just friends. She first noticed it during the show's post-season tour. Between rehearsals, Jenn and Sasha seemed to gravitate toward one another, always deep in conversation or laughing at private jokes that no one else seemed to understand. Cheryl, who had an eye for chemistry on and off the dance floor, couldn't help but notice the subtle glances they exchanged, the way Sasha would playfully nudge Jenn, and how Jenn's reserved demeanor would soften in his presence. The spark. One evening, after a particularly grueling day of rehearsals, the cast decided to unwind at a nearby bar. Cheryl, always one to observe more than participate in social gatherings, sat quietly in the corner, sipping her drink while keeping an eye on the room. Jenn and Sasha were there too, standing at the bar, engaged in animated conversation. From where Cheryl was sitting, she could see Sasha leaning in close to Jenn, whispering something that made her smile in that way only a few people had ever managed to coax out of her. It wasn't the polite smile Jenn typically offered in public, but a genuine, almost shy grin. Cheryl's mind began racing. She had seen enough showmances to know when something real was developing beneath the surface. She'd have been part of the Dancing with the Stars family long enough to recognize the difference between casual flirting and the kind of connection that could last. This felt like the latter. Later that evening, Sasha walked past Cheryl and winked. "You're too quiet tonight, Burke," he teased. Cheryl raised an eyebrow. "Just observing." "Observing what?" Sasha asked, taking a seat next to her. Cheryl leaned in, her voice low. "You and Jenn." Sasha smirked but said nothing. His silence spoke volumes, though. It wasn't a denial, and Cheryl wasn't about to let it slide. "So, what's going on there?" she pressed. Sasha shrugged, feigning nonchalance. "We're just friends." "Friends don't look at each other the way you two do," Cheryl shot back. He chuckled. "You're reading too much into it, Burke." But Cheryl wasn't convinced. If there was one thing she had learned over the years, it was that her instincts were rarely wrong. And right now, her instincts were telling her that Sasha and Jenn were on the cusp of something more. Jenn's side of the story. The next day, Cheryl found herself alone with Jenn during a rehearsal break. The rest of the crew had gone for lunch, but Jenn had stayed behind, stretching out her legs and going over some notes. Cheryl, never one to beat around the bush, decided to take her shot. So, she began, leaning against the wall. "What's going on with you and Sasha?" Jenn looked up, startled by the question. "What do you mean?" "I mean," Cheryl said, taking a seat beside her, "you two seem close." Jenn blushed, something Cheryl hadn't seen her do before. "We're friends," Jenn replied, echoing Sasha's words from the previous night. But there was a hesitation in her voice that Cheryl didn't miss. "Come on, Jenn," Cheryl nudged. "I've seen the way you look at each other. There's something more there, isn't there?" Jenn sighed, pulling her knees up to her chest. "I don't know," she admitted quietly. "Maybe? I mean, I never thought about him that way before, but lately, I don't know. There's just something about him." Cheryl nodded, encouraging her to continue. "He's just so easy to be around," Jenn said, her voice softening. "He makes me laugh, and he gets me in a way that not many people do. I feel like I can be myself around him, you know." Cheryl smiled. She knew exactly what Jenn meant. It was the kind of connection that was rare, the kind that could easily slip through your fingers if you weren't paying attention. "Sounds like you might be falling for him," she said gently. Jenn laughed nervously. "Maybe," she admitted, "but I'm scared. We're so different. What if it doesn't work out? What if we ruin our friendship?" Cheryl placed a reassuring hand on Jenn's shoulder. "Sometimes," she said, "the best relationships come from friendships. And if there's something real between you two, it's worth taking the risk." Jenn nodded, though she still looked uncertain. Cheryl didn't push her further. She knew that matters of the heart were complicated, and Jenn would have to figure things out in her own time. The future of Jenn and Sasha. Over the next few weeks, Cheryl continued to observe Jenn and Sasha's interactions, and she wasn't the only one. Other cast members had started to notice the growing closeness between the two, and rumors began circulating that something romantic was happening behind the scenes. But neither Jenn nor Sasha confirmed or denied anything, leaving everyone to speculate. Cheryl, however, remained convinced that romance was on the horizon for the pair. She saw it in the little things. The way Sasha's hand lingered on Jenn's back a little longer than necessary, the way Jenn's eyes lit up whenever Sasha walked into the room. It was subtle, but it was there, and Cheryl knew that sooner or later, they would have to confront their feelings for each other. As the tour came to an end, Cheryl found herself hoping that Jenn and Sasha would take the leap. After all, life was too short to let fear stand in the way of love. And if anyone deserved to find happiness, it was the two of them.